get the word Passover, like there's been a the enemy coming like a flood, trying to convince you that you are passed over, like where you thought you were getting a certain thing or getting a certain circumstance to come to fruition and it didn't happen, and you kind of felt like it was looked over, and you kind of even gotten mad and bitter about certain things, and the enemy has been kind of spurring in your ear to say, hey, God don't this about you, God don't that about you, the church don't this about you, they don't that about, and it's all been lies, obviously, but it's been convincing you almost to kind of step away and kind of create this shell. And I believe your heart has been a little hardened because of that, because of just life, and it's hard, and you want that connection, and you want the things to go the way that you envisioned them, or you thought that God said was going to happen, and it's not happening. And I want to say right now, there's still promises to be fulfilled in your life. I feel like there's still things coming that are going to be happening in your life in the next season here, that are going to be fulfillment to promises that were told yesteryear. One of the things that I believe God's saying right now is that to tell you that I still remember what I told you years ago. I still remember. I'm still with you. I'm still for you. I've never passed you over. I never passed you by. You didn't miss a blessing. You didn't miss this thing. And in fact, I feel like ministry was almost even something that you wanted to step into in a deeper way, and something kind of like came in and undercutted you, and you just stopped pursuing those things. I don't know if it was like ministry in the church or ministry in the marketplace, but I feel like that I don't know if you're even a leader in your church right now, but I feel like there's been some undercutting that took place. There was some situation that happened in your life, and something that took you out, and you kind of stopped pursuing. But I believe that God's saying, hey, I want you to continue to keep pursuing it, because you are qualified, you're bona fide, I love you with an everlasting love, and you're an amazing daughter of the King. You're an amazing daughter of the King. You're an amazing royal dignitary. You're a royal dignitary. You're a queen. And you know how queen holds themselves. They hold themselves with this dignitary, this I know that I am special. I know I'm somebody important. I believe God wants to remind you of that you need to hold yourself high, like you are somebody important, that you are a person of importance, that you're a royalty in every way, and that the enemy, although the enemy comes in like a flood, you keep raising the standard and the promise against that, and keep meditating on that in Jesus.
I cannot believe that it's just been a year. So what he was talking about, where I felt undercutted, and he's never even heard this either.
No.
We've had my grandson since he was like 3 months old, and we just went to court, and we lost our court hearing that he was to go back with his mom. And it was just so crazy, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I just lost his court hearing. When I came up here, I was madder than mad, and now we have a new attorney. A new judge. So now we're going back to court over that again. So I have not lost our grandson in our home yet.
Wow.
And then when he had talked about the ministry, I belonged to another church for a while, and they just were not too good on women. It was always men, and you had to ask the men for this or ask the men for that, and everything I did, it was just so frustrating, and I could never, I was never good enough for that ministry. So then I just thought, okay, I'm over this. And then when Clay talked about doing a ministry, I went in and I talked to Shalane, and I said, I just feel like I'm drowning here. So she told me about the School of Kingdom ministry. And so I started going in and doing this school, and then I told Shalane, I'm supposed to do an outreach. I just know it. So I started doing this outreach, and and then it was crazy, and then she went on sabbatical, and I took the children's ministry on top of that, and now I'm leading children's ministry, and I'm on staff here at the church. Wow. I mean, and it's just crazy, and it is just amazing. Shalane has fed into me, Rachel, Timmy, Abigail. I just have so many people feeding into me, and I don't feel like I was undercutted anymore. And just the words that he said that day just has changed my life, and I can't even, we were talking about this, like, I can't believe it's only been a year. So I just want everything that Clay has prophesied to you or said to you, receive it. Really, honestly, receive it. When he gave me that, I received it, and I said, I'm going to go with this. Because there was things that he talked about that no one knew. And when he had talked about that there was a promise fulfilled, and that God still remembers that promise, is because, and this was years and years ago, but he said, I'm always with you, and I have never, ever left you, ever. And I used to always tell him, you left me. And right when Clay said, I never left you, and I gave you that promise that I made, I still remember that promise. And because I told him one day I was the victim in something horrible, and I told him that day, I said, you left me. You walked away and you left me. And when he said that promise, and I was like, oh my gosh, he didn't leave me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so right on. So, and I just want to thank you for being so faithful and just listening to him the way that you do and letting him move in you.
Well, Alicia.